10:24 p.m. sitting in a Safeway parking lot on Father's Day. And today I wanted to talk about mental masturbation. And especially as someone who uses the internet a lot, my tendency to want to learn and gain new information and gain new knowledge before I take action. My desire to understand something before I dive off in the deep end. And I think there's a certain type of person personality type that really needs that level of certainty. I think a lot of men in particular struggle with this, but I don't think it's exclusive to men. But it's this desire to know, this desire to have control over something through knowledge so that it'll be less scary or that it'll be less uncertain when we do go into it. And I think that's deeply it's it's a mindset that can be deeply ineffective and dangerous for growth and for actually changing your life, because you get caught up in these cycles of just consuming endless information, trying to figure out how to do something the best way or optimizing without actually doing the thing. And the reason I am thinking about this today is I saw a Twitter thread that I saw a tweet today where someone was asking, like, what is the best way to develop charisma? And or what are the best books and resources to develop charisma? And I I found it super fascinating because that's the same type of question I would have asked 3 or 4 years ago. And I still think it's a valid question. I think if you want to learn something, it's definitely helpful to go to books or resources, and like it'll help you get better at the thing, right? It might accelerate your growth. But there's a caveat, which is that a lot of people find it a lot easier and more comfortable, and the default option is to learn and to get the resource and then not take action, because it feels like you're making progress. It feels like you're taking steps forward, but when it comes to actually doing the thing, learning about the thing doesn't give you any courage to actually do it. And so courage is like its own separate skill, the ability to pursue the things that you want, to take risks, to like actually do the thing and the work that you're avoiding, um, instead of just like endlessly seeking information about it. And I'm saying this because there's a past version of myself that spent hundreds of hours on YouTube reading blog posts, reading books, listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts about the various things that I wanted to learn: social skills, confidence, how to make money, um, you know, how to talk to girls, even, or how to make friends, and all these things. And I think the first variation of this was when I was a freshman. When I was a freshman in high school and a sophomore in high school, I was deeply insecure about my body and about my physique because I was this short, skinny kid. Um, and most of my life, when you're in elementary school and middle school, you're not really self-conscious of that. You don't really think about, like how you're different from the other kids, and like, at least I didn't, right? I didn't think about like, oh, I'm skinny, I'm short. Like, those are all relative things. But in high school, that really becomes apparent. The comparison game and the social game becomes like a lot really accelerated, and people become a lot more self-conscious just due to the social environment of high school. And so I became really insecure about the fact that I was skinny. And so I spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos, reading articles and research papers even about fitness, about muscle building, about the best diets, the best exercises, the best angles on the bench press, the perfect technique. And initially, for about 2 years, I spent very little time actually going to the gym, actually doing the thing. And that on its own, you know, isn't necessarily bad because I learned a lot. Like, I kind of nerded out. But I think the bad thing was that I was under this delusion that I was making progress. And like, I think if you enjoy just like learning about things and reading, like, do it, because I certainly did. Like, I wouldn't have traded those hours and hundreds of hours for anything. Like, I had a great time learning. But I did get frustrated when I would actually go to the gym and not see the results that I wanted, because it seemed like proportionate to the effort I was putting in, I wasn't getting the result. And that's because the effort I was putting in, all of the research stuff didn't count as effort. The only effort that counts is the effort that you put into doing the thing. The effort of effort that you don't want to put in. That's the effort that counts, at least when you're starting, right? You have to develop a relationship with the process. And so, it wasn't till the next couple years, junior year, senior year of high school, the year after that, my freshman year of college, that I actually started to develop a relationship with working out. And I actually started to really enjoy it because I experimented a lot. I continued reading and researching and doing all these things. But most importantly, it was because I continued to show up. And in that showing up, working out wasn't just this chore that I dragged myself to every day, even though it was at the beginning. It evolved into a relationship, evolved into a personal practice and journey with my own rituals, with my own preferences, and these things that I could have only arrived at through experimentation, and I could have only experimented by showing up every day over a consistent period of time. And I'm not saying that you have to show up every day when you start. You might have to ease yourself into it, because some people I know are excellent at committing to something for 3 months, 6 months, a year, and just go, 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 go. But that's a very rare type of person, and I think you'll know if you are that type of person. But for the rest of us, it takes more warming up to develop a habit. It takes, it just doing like a challenge, a 30-day challenge, can often be more detrimental, right? Like, I feel like we've all heard of or seen those reality TV shows where it's like, Fat to Fit or whatever, and it's like a 30-day boot camp, and they put you through it, and they have these crazy transformations. And then a year later, you look at the people who are on these shows, and they're completely back to normal because they did a sprint that didn't actually affect their relationship to the activity. It might have gotten short-term results, but it wasn't able to cultivate a personal practice, a personal relationship, and so it by default wasn't sustainable. They relied on this short-term burst of motivation that was packed into this challenge, that was packed into the fact that they're on TV, or it's a New Year's resolution. And you can't rely on that, like, in the long term at all. And as someone with ADHD, I feel like it's almost worse to rely on it for anything. Maybe little tasks that need to be done once, but if you want to develop a lifelong habit, it's so much more valuable to fall in love with the action, and to reframe the action, or to explore different ways to take the action that make it more personable and enjoyable for you. So like for fitness, for me, it was like starting with just calisthenics, push-ups, pull-ups at the park. Like a lot of this was during COVID. I didn't have access to a gym, so I would just go to my local elementary school park and like, just fuck around, go on the monkey bars, do some pull-ups, like do some jumping jacks, and challenge myself and set like a certain number of push-ups and pull-ups to do every day, and just kind of increase that slowly, or at least stick to the baseline. And then over time, it was like certain exercises that I liked that helped me with sprinting. I watched all these videos on the best exercises to do X, Y, and Z. I tried all of them, and among the ones that I tried, certain ones were more fun, certain ones felt like they were progressing me more. Some of them just made me feel stronger because I could lift more weight. And I just stuck to those. I stuck to the ones I enjoyed. And now, having worked out semi-consistently for close to 8 years, like solidly consistently, at least for 4 to 5 years, I can say confidently that, you put me in any gym and I'll not only have a good workout, I'll have a good time. And I won't struggle to show up every day because I genuinely love it. and it's progressing me in the ways that I want to progress. And like I think that's the ideal situation for everyone. And it's also the easiest way to actually be accountable to yourself and actually stick to things long term, because I don't really believe in discipline. Like I think discipline is a good way to get started, and you have to certainly put in the hard work sometimes to like, break through the initial barrier of like this is new and uncomfortable. But yeah, for anything long term that matters to you, I think like it really is about developing curiosity and enjoyment and like experimentation. Because now like I know hundreds of exercises that I could do. You know, you put me in a gym and you tell me, okay, like today I'm going to focus on chest, or today I'm going to focus on legs. And because I've done all these different exercises, I've experimented so much, I know which ones that I like. And if I go to a gym with new equipment that I haven't used before, I have enough context, enough experience to get a sense of, okay, this equipment, even though I've never seen it before, I know what this does. This uses my glutes and my hamstrings. And then I'll try it out and I'll see if I like it, and I'll know pretty quickly if I like it or not, and then either add it to my routine for that day or just not, include it. And so whenever I go into a gym, especially a new gym, it feels like I'm entering a playground. I feel almost like an artist, a creator, because I have all these tools, all these playthings, and I can integrate them in the way that suits whatever goal I have for the day. Maybe my goal is to get my arms stronger, or maybe my goal is just to tire myself out, or maybe my goal is to improve my physique and like, get better abs or something, or maybe my goal is to get a lot stronger in my legs. And based on whatever intentionality I have, whatever desire I have for that specific day, I can craft this whole thing, this whole routine, like 3 to 5 exercises around that goal. And it's not this like upward battle of, oh, I need to work out, I need to do this, I'm going to force myself to do this. I go to the gym and then I get there and I'm like, oh, I don't want to get out of the car. And then I check in and I'm like, oh, like now I have to deadlift today. Like none of it feels forced. And that's the relationship that I really want to develop and teach other people like about, because it almost like sometimes when I talk about working out to other people, like as a metaphor for anything else, whether that's like a creative process or something like social skills that I was talking about earlier, any skill, people sometimes look at me like I'm crazy, or like they don't really understand the level of, I hate to use the word passion, but the level of like enjoyment that you can have in doing something that's supposed to be hard or supposed to be like work. But I found the happiest and most successful people that I know to be people who genuinely like love their work. And that seems to be something that I also want to learn more about. I want to better understand this process, and not only understand it, right, because that's a knowledge trap, but learn the practice of applying that to every other aspect of my life. Learn the process of like developing that for my creative journey above all else, but also these other things like making money, right, which I feel like I've gotten a hold of, but it's not fully integrated into my process yet. With my relationships and friendships and all these things. So yeah, I know I kind of went on like a tangent like between two somewhat seemingly different topics, but it's just how my brain works, and that's what I was thinking about today. Yeah, I hope that was remotely interesting or useful or helpful to you. And I appreciate you watching. I'll see you tomorrow.